Hi, I'm Prophecy, IGL for the Kryptic Esports Apex team, and welcome to the Kryptic Training Grounds. Today, we're diving into one of the most important questions in Apex, how to think like an IGL. If you've ever felt like your squad is doing their own thing, everyone fighting their separate battles with no plan and no coordination, this video is for you. I'm hopefully going to help teach you how to turn that chaos into a coordinated team effort and seriously improve your performance in ranked or in entry-level comp. To think like an IGL, you first have to understand exactly what your role is on the team. The IGL is the commander of the squad, and while your teammates are focused on their individual tasks, you're looking at the game from the top-down perspective. In fights, most IGLs play one of two main positions, whether that's the entry fragger, who's in charge of leading the push and creating space for the team, or the anchor, who holds the strong positions, supports the teammates from the back line, and uses the information to make smart decisions in the middle of fights. The position you prefer also influences which legends is going to work best for you. Aggressive IGLs often like having the strong movement capabilities of Wraith, Alter, Ashe, just to name a few, while more defensive IGLs usually prefer utility like a Newcastle Wall or Crypto Drone to maximize information and to confirm space on the map. No matter what your fighting style is though, the IGL constantly has final say. Every major team decision runs through the IGL, whether that's when and where to rotate, which fights to take, which positions to hold, and the role demands clear, constant, confident communication. Since it's your job to constantly push the game forward and guide your team through every phase from the early game to the end game, an IGL needs to have lots of information. To do this, the foundation of our good decision making is going to be constant observation skills. While your teammates are looting or fighting, your eyes got to be glued to the map, understanding where the Evo is, where the teams around us are, where do we get our next information, what's a better spot to hold, anything is good. Constantly use the map, constantly keep track of teams, ask yourself who has good loot, is anyone near us, and make the proactive call. Since we're on the topic of calling, one of the biggest differences between good IGLs and bad IGLs is their communication. You can have amazing game sense and observation skills, but if you can't communicate your decisions clearly, your plays will fall apart starting with you. To be an effective leader, an IGL needs these three core communication skills. You need to have commanding comms. As the leader, you have to give decisive instructions. Instead of failing to make a decision, maybe we do this, you need to be confident. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna do it now. Active information and observation comms are also extremely important. The IGL does roughly 70% of the team's communication, so you're gonna be constantly yapping useful info, whether that's enemy positions, what they're running, their shields, and their likely movements. This will tie back into our observation skills, into tracking teams, and get in the habit of sharing this info constantly if you want to succeed. Timing and listening comms are also super important. Don't overcrowd your comms, especially in the middle of fights. Your voice is always going to be the loudest and most influential, and knowing that is half the battle. So when your teammates are speaking up, let them speak unless you need to take over. Personally, communication took me the longest to develop. I still work on these skills every day, and I'm nowhere near perfect at it. So if it doesn't feel natural, you are not alone. Last but one of the most important factors of being an IGL is taking full responsibility for your gameplay. Every decision, every habit, and every behavior eventually comes back to you as a player. So whether you're grinding ranked or trying to go pro, real improvement only happens when you take full responsibility for your gameplay. This applies to everyone in the game, but as the IGL, you carry the accountability for the team and the state of the game. Always ask yourself why. Every death or lost fight, question your own calls. Why did we die there? Why did that team push us? Why did we take that fight? And make sure to separate the game from yourself. Learn to observe your own gameplay with the same objectivity you'd have as watching someone else. Remove your own ego from the situation, be objective, and you will get very far. One of the best way to do this is by reviewing your own VODs, watching your games back, and studying your own rotates and decisions like a coach would. If you get frustrated in the middle of a game, that's totally fine. You know, everyone gets mad once they die, but as the IGL, it's super important that you always come back with a strong mental. So having the ability to mental reset yourself is super important. To recap, thinking like an IGL comes down to four main factors: understanding your role, making your smart proactive decisions with your observation skills, communicating clearly to your team, and taking full ownership of both the good and the bad things about your game. If you start applying these concepts, I'm sure that you'll improve much quicker, especially in ranked or in scrims. And just always remember that this stuff takes time. It's incredibly difficult to learn all of these things at once. So start small, focus on one thing at a time. Don't be afraid to mess it up. That's how we all get better. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.